Well, joining me now is Brian Henry. He's the barrister who led the legal challenge. And Brian, a significant ruling today. I want to get into the detail of that with you in a moment. But I also want to ask, first of all, how has this been able to go on at Gloriavale for so long?
I got involved just over 2 years ago, and we looked at the documents, we looked at the government approaches that had been made, we looked at the rejections, but it was the Labour Inspectorate report where we could see that we had something we could review and attack, and that's what we've done. The Labour Inspectorate is the first defendant in these proceedings, and it's all about were or weren't they employees, and I don't know how, but the Labour Inspectorate did a report saying they were not employees, and that gobsmacked me.
Well, a significant ruling from the court today. They do not agree. They say that it is child labour. So what does this mean for all of the children that are still at Gloriavale now?
Well, now that it's ruled they're employees, they're entitled to the basic employment rights, which are terms and conditions about hours they work and that sort of thing. The boys were never after money. They were after getting proper terms and conditions for their brothers, sisters, friends who are still in there. And a 6-year-old working in heavy industry, I'm sorry, that is just, to me, an unacceptable practice.
Is it even legal, Brian?
There's no limit on when you can employ someone, but the law expects 14 before you're in an industry. And these boys were in heavy industry. You know, the moss plant was heavy inside swamps. They worked alongside adults. The shaking, drying plants and what they had to do there, that's dangerous industry. So dusty, dirty, and I wouldn't have thought it was something that a 14-year-old should be in.
Absolutely. I want to go to a part in the judgment that makes it very clear that there was physical and psychological abuse of your 3 clients and presumably of other children there too. And that says that disobedience could result in attendance at a shepherds and servants meeting that was the most feared form of discipline exerted within the community. What do you know about that? Well,
the evidence was it's basically what I'd call an inquisition. They would be lined up with the leaders of the community. There would be 10, 12 of them. They would sit around a table and they would start haranguing them about what was right and wrong, particularly biblical attacks. And you have to understand these are children taught from day one that their only way to salvation is through these men. They are more important than Jesus Christ in this religion. They interpret the Bible, they interpret everything. So they're in front of people that they have been taught to fear. They have had incidents, and the judge records this, where they've seen kids in themselves being denied food. They are showing the power and control of the overseeing shepherd. He is all-powerful. And we have a tape which was played in the court hearing of Zion Pilgrim's final meeting with them, and you know, the anger with which he said, you know, you can come back, but you are nothing. And it was an absolute, you are nothing. I'm getting angry now. You will be nothing. These people are nothing as far as the leaders are concerned, except something to work and make money for them. And you know, they tried to tell the court that these were chores. Working in a moss plant at 6 years old is not a chore. That is a linguistic, to my mind, it's linguistically deviant to try and use those words. And the judges basically said it's a different language. They work, full stop.
The government, I just want to finish finally with you, but the government's talking today about a firm response, Brian. Daniel Pilgrim saying in Michael's story that it has failed miserably here. What really can we expect the government to do? What do you think the government has to do with Gloriavale?
Well, there has been for a long time a joint committee to deal with Gloriavale, and it has done nothing. I'm sorry, it's just done nothing. You have got child issues here. Where is the social welfare agencies? We know where the Labour Inspectorate was, as the judge said. Loud alarm bells should come from reading cursorily what we believe. They had a copy of that, and I'll come back and talk about that in a minute when I first saw it, but it is unbelievable that these agencies have done nothing. Now, I have to excuse the police. The police have been trying, but as the judgment says, these people are taught you do not go to the courts, you do not go to authority. So the police prosecute someone, particularly these are sex offences, you've got to have corroboration, you've got to have witnesses around, and there you've got a group who are saying to them, you cannot give evidence against these people. And Brian, so they protect them.
And Brian, you think it is the tip of the iceberg. Thank you so much for joining us here on Newshub Live at 8 p.m. tonight.